What's going on, guys? Kind of getting everything sorted. Trying to get back into what we were doing a little bit earlier today as my power cut out in the middle of the stream right as we got to Grim Forge, which was unfortunate. A storm rolled through, which I hilariously, right as it started, was like, oh no, a storm's going on. My power might wind up cutting out, and then like right as I said it, it did. But it finally seems to have passed me by and I got everything sorted back out. So here we are. Alright, with that in mind, carrying on what we were doing, again we had just gotten to Grim Forge. Advanced Level Gaming says welcome back. I couldn't for the life of me find that door in the park in Baldur's Gate. Oh yeah, talking about conversation we were having at the time.
Should mind my step.
But he says he found what he was looking for, so happy to hear it.
There must be a stockpile nearby.
We were literally in a fight with these mimics when
plain sight like that?
my power went out, but luckily we saved right beforehand, so we didn't really lose anything.
Time to strike. This is your end.
Critical miss. About the appropriate way to start. Okay.
I won't give in.
So Advanced Level Gaming's talking about some of the things Minska does in Baldur's Gate. Well, the actual city. Yeah, the whole thing with Minsk and recruiting him is a little awkward at times.
Can't give up.
Right, Gale doesn't get an attack because he started combat by hitting them, and then
Your time has come.
we'll have Shadowheart move in with the melee.
Swift and lethal. Let my name be known.
Of course. Torment!
Need to act fast.
I'm hoping to finish up at least the rest of Act 1, which would be Grim Forge and the Mountain Pass is what we've got left, so hopefully that will be reasonable.
Take heed.
You can find a Harper's stash here if you interact with that little toy chest there. Buster the Cluster asks, what do I think is the hardest fight? For me, it was the dragon that you can find named Answer that I talked about in the video today, but as a somewhat close follow-up, sometimes I have issues with Raphael, but it really just depends on how you get to that fight. But that fight can also be very difficult, but usually it's that dragon. Cameron asks about low frame rates in the city of Baldur's Gate. Yeah, as I mentioned in my review, it seems like there's more problems in that city than anywhere else. Luckily, we have a bunch of thieves' tools, so we can sort of force this until we manage to roll well, but even with our substantial bonuses here, that can take a second. Okay. Some info on the Harpers you can find there. Grab those +1 AC gloves that we had given to Shadowheart, and I think at this point we are officially caught up to where I was before the power cut off. But there's a few things around Grimforge to do, but overall it's a pretty straightforward area. Mostly just exploring, but we need to go up here and talk to a few people. Mostly the Duragar in the vicinity, so they can give us the full situation.
That's a friendly looking shadow. Wonder if the gods are watching me. At the ready.
Doing? Donald.
Arancia has asked which weapon we're going to craft.
Same as the goblins had.
I haven't decided yet. I was thinking about the mace, but probably grab the splint armor for sure, just because that's really useful. But beyond that, I haven't decided just yet. Fun Logan says Mortismal in the flesh. Just started watching all your videos. Love the content. I appreciate it. That's very kind of you to say.
I don't have time for Drugnan outsiders. Never thought I'd see these back. Here then, now
We can give the sergeant here her boots back.
Famous Near. Subject of the mic.
Get near out, and you'll have the Absolute's blessing. They don't get paid soon.
And
I'll
she'll
have a
explain
rise on
that
my
a
hands.
true soul has been trapped behind the rubble there. If you give her her boots back, we get the quest reward here. None of it's super great, though. So, ideally, or at least what they tell you to do, is find some explosives to deal with that rubble. But if you don't, Nier will just die. Or if you don't do it in time, rather. Sell off a few things we've been picking up.
Come back anytime.
And then we're off to explore the rest. So there's a few interactions over here, starting with some Duragar talking about the architecture.
A sun dweller in this. Take a look. Tell me what you see. And be thorough.
That one, of course. We got 4 inspiration though, might as well use them. Struggling to pass a very basic check. There we go.
Several glassy stones stand out in the hottest of flames, smoothed the stone and left sulfuric crystals
Based on what
behind.
you pass or don't pass here, you can
Fires of the hell
report back what you've
boulders
noticed
and
about the
no
Grimforge
quake.
area.
What do you think?
The statue.
Anything standing out? But my work has only begun. Well, let's see what you've got.
All right. He doesn't have
That's
anything
all
that we need, but a little farther up the way here, we can find some
Place brims with history.
The most interesting
corpses on the
secrets
ground
are
that will be of
always
note
lurking
to
just under the
Shadowheart.
surface.
As you look at this,
Dark Justicia uniform.
Watch your...
Enough.
And then she grabbed, or well, you can pick up this medium armor. The AC on it is a little bit low, but has a decent enough enchantment on it. You can find better versions of that later, though. And around the corner is a chest.
I wonder what's past this. designed to be made by Dwergar.
Shove moss in your own gob and stay quiet. They've been fed plenty. You! That rubble needs clearing. And my think something spooks the
And
dumb
they would
shits.
like us to
So stop your
get
jawing
these
and get
Roths,
to
or
working.
Roths, I don't know,
You got no
to
need to
get
know,
the
and I
rubble
got no
down.
need to tell. So get to caning or to leaving. Don't get any smart ideas. That forges clan property. Go on.
Anti Forge is mentioned.
Though once you get this done,
Watching scared.
The creature is disturbed, its breath quickened by anger and fear.
we'll try to pass this, but I don't have the skill set for this one, and I don't have any animal speaking potions on me. Oh, nice.
The
Nat 20.
Rothe, its eyes flicker towards the Dwergar, burning with raw, bestial rage. The Rothe
And they can break it down for us.
Droog,
But as soon as they
that's
do-
it, you beasts. Not enough. I almost feel bad about this. They have lost it. Put him
The
down.
Duragar attack. The Unbelievable Beaver says can't decide between Sorcerer 2 Warlock or Sorcerer 2 Cleric for a second playthrough. Sorlocks are a very common approach, so can't really go wrong there.
Striking distance.
Let's end this.
There's one gone.
All that matters.
I'm ready.
Nice. Depending on how you treated the animals here, they can help you out in this fight or also be attacking you, but they die pretty easily because they don't have a lot of health. Not usually a ton of help.
No choice but to keep going.
There's that dealt with. They never have a ton on them.
Them through.
But then we can get up into the
have a
upper
look.
parts of Grimforge, where we can find a few more things. But real quick,
My eyes
oh, we're
grow
at a short
heavy.
rest.
Best to make camp.
Yeah, still mostly good on our spell slots though, so we'll just try to
Not clear.
heal everybody up before we move on. There's a bunch of traps up here in a
Still
second.
waiting, despite everything. With haste.
Lauren says you missed the mass there. Yeah, I'm aware there. There's several of them hanging around. I'm not really too worried about it. There's more in the chamber over here even. Ram Nexus says, howdy, can tell you're natural at mouse and keyboard. Have you ever tried Baldur's Gate 3 with a controller? I haven't tried it out personally. I've seen a few people who have. It has it like switches the camera perspective and everything on you, which I thought was pretty cool.
Nasty
But beyond that, I
surprise.
haven't really played with a
Caution
ton
is warranted
personally.
here.
Not really a controller guy.
Caution is warranted here.
Be wary. This place is trapped.
Most of these are pretty easy to bypass, but... Ah, there it is. I was like, there's usually one. Tara says I tried the controller and it felt like driving a car with your knees around a racetrack. That is certainly descriptive. There we go.
Can't afford to stay idle.
Still alive, so that's progress.
I don't need to disarm that now because the traps are already
Be wary.
going.
This place is trapped.
Can I get a hint as to find how to find the secret boss fight in today's? Oh, it's the dragon, I believe is what you're talking about. It's part of Will's story. Good grief. Anything go right?
Can't slow down.
We're just trying to loot a chest over here down this ladder. Oh, what GPU did I end up getting after mine died? Oh yeah, that was back in March. That was a while ago. That GPU that died actually got replaced by Gigabyte. They sent me a new one. So I have that one, but I bought a 490 that showed up way before they managed to RMA the old one. Honestly, I'm just somewhat surprised they even sent me a new one. Wasn't really expecting much there.
Salutations. The path less traveled.
Yeah, the 4090s are very strong. Certainly makes my job a little easier, to be honest.
How much farther can I go?
Alright, so... Before we go too much farther, we'll take a long rest, because we're at a short rest. We got hit by all those traps and everything, and then there's a couple fights coming up.
In your mind.
I sense you, true
Jesus says Grimforge on the third playthrough. Nice.
News is good.
Nier's voice.
Okay, so by resting before you save Nier, he actually just dies. But truth be told, that's a little easier than dealing with the fight that comes with freeing him anyway, because even if you free the guy, he either forces you to kill a bunch of people and fight against the Duragar, or
Oakfather's blessings to you.
everyone turns on you and you have to fight all of them. So it's not exactly a fun time either. Okay. Doesn't look like anybody wants to chat up in our camp, so we can go to bed. Okay.
The cub hold.
Second check with the owlbear, which we really don't have the skills for. Am I planning to make a video about a bard, like eventually, but not soon by any means? Hey, we passed one. I was a little worried because we didn't have any bonuses there. Oh, Visa says you can get some of the Durgar on your side. Yeah, if you talk to one of them, he explains that if you can take out the scrying eye and set them up for success, some of them will join you, but even then, it's not exactly great. Alright. Now we can leave camp and continue exploring. The first of several molds.
A steel mold used in forges to cast armor and weapons.
And I don't believe there's anything on this catwalk farther up, but doesn't hurt to check. Yeah, I'll probably more than likely wind up making a build for basically every class at some point. I mean, some of them will be multi-class together, but to some degree, it's just gonna take me a while because I gotta actually play through the game, and like theory craft builds are fine, but I'm mostly just trying to make builds I actually use for the playthroughs.
What am I to do?
You have my attention.
Ignorance breeds madness. Action, not reaction.
No time to rest. No one's stopped me yet.
Christopher asks, when's the Wrath versus Baldur's Gate video? I probably won't frame it quite like that, but I will likely make a video discussing Baldur's Gate 3 and Wrath of the Righteous at some point, but I don't really have a timeline for it just yet. I would prefer to finish up everything I want to do with Baldur's Gate 3 first, but we'll see how that actually winds up panning out. Dark Justiciar helmet, that I don't think pretty much anyone needs, though. These molds are really heavy for the forge, but
Ready and willing.
as for that helm, I don't think... Yeah, it's not really of use to anyone. Even Shadowheart doesn't really need it. People talking about Wrath, DOS 2, and Baldur's Gate. I mean, I could discuss all of them, and I probably will to some degree, but generally what people are referring to is whether or not Baldur's Gate 3 has surpassed Wrath of the Righteous as my favorite is often what people are asking there. Padone says, hey, how's everybody doing today? Good night, or good time of day from Italy. How's it going? Just got a few more places to check, and then the side room has a encounter. Well, two technically, and then some other stuff we can explore as well. Do I have a preferred party group? So my preference-wise, I usually go with Lae'zel, Gale, and Shadowheart because they kind of make a really good party composition and they're really easy to grab pretty much immediately. But beyond that, not really. Mostly I'll just use whoever's relevant in the moment, swap them out as needed. But those three in particular, their sort of default classes make up a nice party composition, so I'll usually just roll with them. There's a fight just past that door, which should not be a big deal at all. Gabe asks if they interact a lot because the party dynamic he has is a bit disappointing. It depends. Sometimes, like in general, I would say party banter is not like crazy outside of conversations, but there are a few interactions here and there that I think are pretty solid. Will and Gale have some funny things to say to each other, which always kind of made me laugh. WM says, "Hey Mort, been watching all of these, finally caught one. Glad to hear it. Little off schedule myself. I was in the middle of this morning, and the storm rolled in and cut my power out kind of unexpectedly, which was a bummer, but seems to have passed so far." And fight with some hellbores.
I don't fancy their chances.
This is a room where Cloud of Daggers does exceptionally well.
To focus.
Still breathing, despite everything.
We'll save Luck of the Far Realms. I don't think we need to hit anything with that just yet. Oh yeah, people talking about the interrupted stream. Yeah, that was unfortunate, to be sure. Hence the 3.5 on the title of this one. Hey, Shadowheart did something useful. That doesn't happen every day. I have left more enemies with 1 hit point on this run than I have ever seen in any of the other runs or early access that I've played previously. Shadowheart took a beating there, jeez. Got knocked into our Cloud of Daggers. Have I ever broken Saza out of jail? Yes, on my evil playthrough I did that. It leads to a whole separate quest line to take you to the Goblin camp. And it's probably, I would say, one of the easiest ways to do the Assault the Grove option is to rescue Saza. People talking about Wall of Fire in addition to Cloud of Daggers. I like Wall of Fire. It's
Swift as my feet can carry me.
a nice spell. If anything, I don't use it as much as I should, but
More for me.
it's also pretty cool. WM says 3.5 is the best D&D edition. It's certainly my favorite. I think best in that context is very subjective, but unsurprisingly, since Pathfinder 1E means so much to me, 3.5, which it was based on, is pretty fun as well.
I applaud your taste.
Give Gale an extra spell slot with that potion there for the day.
Breathe deep and move.
Alright, that's pretty much everything up here. Now we can head back to the bottom floor to explore another little area that we didn't touch yet before dealing with whatever's left of Nier over here. Internet Andy says I still have second edition. I actually don't mind Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, the one the earlier Baldur's Gate games used. I'm pretty familiar with that one as well, just because playing through all the Infinity engines, but I admit even that one's a little before my time. I forget what's under this rock off the top of my head, but
Let's get going.
hopefully it's useful. Am I going to review Minthara and Halsons as companions too? I might. I'm debating how to approach that because it doesn't exactly roll into a video super well compared to the origin characters, but I would like to do something with it because in my opinion, Minthara has one of the best companion stories, and she's not even an origin. She has a fantastic backstory. I'd like to talk about it in some capacity, but I haven't really decided how just yet. Aaron Kiefer says, is this my game of the year? So far, certainly. I mean, there's still some games to go. We'll see how they pan out, but I would say it is incredibly likely, given that this is my favorite genre and everything, that it will remain so. These jellies can be resistant to a lot of
Please, Mistra.
damage. I forget what they're weak to. Nothing. That's what it was. I was actually, that's funny, I was about to lightning bolt them, but I was like, there was something about their resistances I couldn't quite remember. What did Blaze get stunned for?
Nothing will stand in my way.
Got to concentrate. On I go.
Heartstar says, who has the best backstory? Minthara, in my opinion.
Sometimes the only way out is through.
I mean, some of the origin characters are pretty cool as well, obviously, but Minthara has a great story. I'm genuinely surprised they hid that behind an evil playthrough because you can't recruit her otherwise.
One day I'll catch a break.
And Hensler asks, how's the difficulty level up, or holding up rather, in our absurd run? So far, so good. I will say 5 levels of each of these classes together has proven surprisingly solid. Like, I wouldn't say it's good, but I'm not, like, completely useless. We took a level in War Cleric to get 2 hits, and even some of our spells have been somewhat useful. If anything, I'm just surprised it's not worse than it is.
Come on, can't stay idle.
Hopefully.
Feel my mistress's wrath.
Hey.
Let's move. Best be on
Shadowheart's actually doing something this time. Bisa says, I think you're just evil. Pick up some arrows, since our main character is making use of as many arrows as we can.
Tools.
It's always...
Thick rope.
There's this trap
Someone
disarm
climbed
kit,
up
but as you
from
can see,
down
it's
below.
kind of glitched into the wall there, but you can still pick it up. Been like that every time I've ran through here. I don't know if the gnome is still going to be here or not. I think we have one more rest before Nier just completely dies, but... Okay, yeah. If Nier dies, she just leaves. She's not here anymore. Not that we're gonna kill her or anything, or at least try not to. Bilal says, nice to finally catch the stream. Love your videos. I appreciate it. That's very kind of you. Oh, hold on a second. The sun's going down, so my green screen is being uncooperative all of a sudden. That's about as good as I'm going to have to get it without standing up to fix it. But
Hold it!
An ashen scent fills the air, but the scent is acrid, as if contaminated
yeah,
somehow.
Chuckles asking a question about Warlock AC.
The gnomes
Your
well
options
and
there
truly
are
match
pretty much to
you,
take a
Baldur.
race with better
I'll shut
armor
you down.
or utilize spells to mitigate it. You can even find some equipment. Looks like our cape is glitching through there.
That's the better to die in this shit-eat than rotting moonrise.
Okay, so
You
she
want
is
me?
threatening to
Come get me.
blow us all up here. Because she made off with their bomb that they were
Don't do
trying
this.
to, or their powder or
pretend-
whatever, that they were trying to use
Shit,
to
go
get
on.
rid of
Drag me
the
to
rubble, to
moonrise.
get rid of
You
Nier.
want- Look. I'm
And now we have that powder, though.
What's in here?
We got enough spells for days for Gale. Everybody would get out of the way.
Better not be cursed.
There we go. Having a hard time clicking that book because all the companions were standing right there. Alright.
Shouldn't have wished to live in more interesting times. Looking ahead. Quite ready for you.
We're going to see what we can learn with Gale real quick because we've just been hoarding spells this entire time and we've got gold for days. Wonderful. Gale just he just learned a mountain of spells. Good grief. Alright, that said, I don't think we're really going to equip any of them at the moment.
Immediately.
What are they moving ahead?
Alright, now we can teleport back down and decide what to do about Nier. Gong says, hi, glad to see you live. Too bad I have to go out, but have fun. I appreciate you stopping by. It's very kind of you. My plans for today kind of got messed up by a storm, so honestly, I appreciate everybody just coming back that is back. Or that was able to catch it for the first time, even. Okay, so we can basically either pick a fight or let Nier die.
And I'll personally rip off her head when you dig her out!
And realistically, I think we'll just let him die because it's kind of funny and it's easier. Plus, we're about to have a big boss fight anyway once we get a little deeper into the forge. It's also just kind of really funny to me that you can just kind of not do anything about it.
Nothing.
And
Both
here's
animals.
the cutscene where you can pet both of the animals we can get a hold of, which will give you approval from pretty much everybody.
Nothing. Both animals look fine.
Okay, and then that will complete that as done because he is quite dead.
Nia must be long dead by now.
However,
That makes it
we still get to
more
loot his
palatable.
corpse
Decaying corpse lies before you.
and take his head. Hold on, we'll grab Lae'zel for this. It'd be embarrassing if I... Oh, actually, oh, wow. Don't even have to pass the check. Just put it on his corpse.
At least things have stayed interesting.
Giant Monkey says Lae'zel does not approve. That's about right. So hilariously, this interaction right here is one of the only ways I found that I could break the Oath of Vengeance Paladin's oath. I mean, I'm sure there are others, but it's the only one I personally ran into. My Oath of Vengeance Paladin didn't care for that at all. He drops a pretty good sword that we don't really need. Actually, no, we can make use of that. That's probably better than our... Yeah, that's a little bit better than our longsword we've been using. And then we could also slap a shield on now. All right, now the boots are amazing,
Let's get on with it.
and I think we're gonna give them to Shadowheart because Lae'zel already gets Misty Step. Our character doesn't need it because we're focused on range, and Gale certainly doesn't need it. And Hensler says you can break Oath of Vengeance by freeing the goblin prisoner. Yeah, that checks out. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of ways throughout the game, but in my evil playthrough where I had a few levels of that, I was able to do a surprising amount of stuff without that breaking. Was what surprised me.
Here. Another step forward. With a flick of the wrist.
Alright, and now we can head back to, real quick before we go deeper into Grimforge, we can head back to the Myconid colony and turn in Nir's head for a quest completion. WM says he was surprised by Lae'zel being kind of cool. Yeah, Lae'zel turns out to be one of the better characters in my opinion, despite her rather off-putting start. Ashen says I keep forgetting to pact bind my weapon as a warlock. Yeah, I had a lot of problems remembering that as well in my initial playthrough. And then for turning in Nir's head, we get that Envoy's Amulet, which is a once per day bonus to persuasion checks, which is actually pretty useful for us at the moment. And now we've just got to explore the rest of Grimforge, but first we're going to sell some of this junk. Corbett says, hey, how's it going? How is it going with you?
You come across a noble stock mushroom about, you give it here. Gods know I've earned it.
You can pick up a lot of stuff in Grimforge, and at least for our particular loadout at the moment, not a lot of it is very useful. We'll send that to camp. Just in case, but I'll just about do it for now. I forget who has the last piece of that staff. The ice crystal, the icy metal, and there's one other piece, and you can combine all of them together to make a staff with them, and I forget where the last piece is.
Why does it?
Forgot to
You come across a
finalize the
noble
barter,
stock mushroom about.
because of course I
You
did.
give it here.
Zed says, hey, nice to
No,
see you
I've
live.
earned it.
I appreciate it. Nice people show up for it, to be honest with you. It's always a little surprising to me how many people want to watch me do this kind of thing, but I certainly appreciate it. We'll sell the Wyvern Toxin. We're not using it. Tommy says, do I have a playlist of Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous? I have a full live playthrough of Wrath of the Righteous, yeah. There was a competition they did with the launch of that game that I took part in, so there's a whole playthrough of me doing that.
70 years of terror. For what?
Alright, we'll head back to Grimforge, but I really can't remember where the last piece of that staff is. I want to say it was in the Underdark area rather than Grimforge, but either way. Photon says, I also always forget where I put the last piece of the staff. Alright, now that that is sorted out, even if we did kind of take the easy way out with Nier there, we can head to the back of Grimforge. Which is helpful with a little bit of jumping. Remy says the icy half from Duorn is what you're missing. Oh, right, the one that drops off the, with the, not the spectator itself, but the petrified guys. He doesn't always die during that fight, and that's why we missed it. That's right.
Seek and you shall find me.
What's going on, Ivan? Alright, so rather than try to get everybody over there, what I found the easiest way to do to get to the back of Grimforge is just take Lae'zel, use her extended jump. Jump to the back here and walk over here for the waypoint.
Have a lot on my mind, and
Now everybody else can just
have to keep going.
teleport up.
Is that blood? No, never mind.
Remy says you can steal it too. Yeah, if I, it's a little late now because I'd have to back up to be able to encounter him, but yeah, you just get it off the guy basically. There is an option to kill that drow guy. It just kind of passed us by because the spectator didn't kill him in the fight, and then we passed some persuasion options. I forgot he had the staff piece on him. Christopher says it's the best gaming review channel. I appreciate it. That's very kind of you. I think there's room for everybody, though. I think the nice thing about reviews and opinion-based content in general is that there's room for everyone's opinion. Alright.
No one back home will ever believe this. One day I'll catch
Now there's a
break.
fight right up here.
Oh, enough waiting. I crave blood. Objective noted.
Don't waste a step.
Christopher said that's why I became a patron. I appreciate it. It's very kind of you. Ryan asked if I live in Georgia. No, I live in Tennessee. Pretty nearby, though. Wes says, what's the most enjoyable playthrough I've done so far? The first one was probably the most enjoyable overall, but the Cleric of Tiamat one was also a blast. Alright. So as soon as we get close, we're going to get attacked by these four little guys creeping around the corner there. Could be, yeah, it's like right as you hit that line of tiles there. Which is a weird thing to have memorized, but that's the kind of person I am. Left him with 3, of course.
Light on my feet.
You have to be a little careful if you get up on the ramp with those guys. They will try to shove you off of it into the lava, which is kind of funny, to be fair, but still. Ludwig joined as a supporter. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Does AD&D, or does Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition still have alignments? They technically, alignments still exist in 5th edition, but they are greatly minimized. Like, it's just not where the focus is at all. Chief Warlock Ickett says, just finished the Mountain Pass section, loved it so much, messed around, found out how to annoy Vlaka. Yeah, I like the Mountain Pass area. We're going to do that after we finish up in Grimforge, which we should be able to get to. I like that area a lot. There's a lot of cool stuff going on in there. Snorrison says it's nice to have reviews again in the same vein as Total Biscuit. I appreciate the comparison. Truth be told, I never watched a ton of his videos before he passed away, but I have watched a few, and people make that comparison a lot, which is kind of people to say. Robin says, hey, Mortismal, first time catching you live. Love your game reviews. I appreciate it. Says they've watched all of them 100%. That's a lot of reviews. Well done. All right, so with Gale, we will throw a cloud of daggers up here on those two.
Got to move.
Shadowheart is like annoyingly out of range of anything useful, so I think we'll just Sacred Flames. Probably not going to do much though. Hey, 9. Not terrible. Alright.
What path lies before me?
Like I said, coming up here is actually a little dangerous because they can try to push you off sometimes. But at least we killed that guy. Actually, yeah, we got enough movement speed to come back down, which I think we will do, just so we don't get pushed off. WM says, I found the channel while Cyberpunk had people going nuts. I appreciate it. I'm actually... So Cyberpunk 2077 was one of the first 100% reviews that I did. So it's, in my opinion, it's not a very good review. I plan on sort of redoing it when the Phantom Liberty expansion drops. But I'm glad to see that people still enjoyed it. Padon says, I mentioned in some of my recent videos that a lot of loot comes from the Mountain Pass. Yeah, there's a lot of really good stuff that drops in the Mountain Pass, like a ridiculous amount of good gear. Like, there's like 4 or 5 pieces of gear that drop in the Mountain Pass that you can use for like the rest of the game if you want. It's kind of ridiculous. Chris says, can't watch because of spoilers, but I'll try to catch up later. Keep up the content. I appreciate it. That's kind of you. Storison missed out on the Blood of Lethander in the Mountain Pass. My first time through, I missed it because I didn't think much of the puzzle. But the second time on my Cleric of Tiamat, I was like, I'll just stay here till I figure out whatever this is. And I did. And I'm glad I did, because that mace was ridiculous for my Cleric build. It wouldn't have done my Warlock much good anyway, so I don't really care too much about missing it there. But I'm very glad I didn't
Outflank. Outsmart.
pass it by otherwise. this guy should die on his turn no matter what, so. Even if we miss. There we go.
But my magic.
Which mountain pass gear do I recommend? The Blood of Lathander mace, if you can pass the athletics check to get it's really good. The long sword that drops off that gets Yankee capped in there, or not the long sword, but a great sword that drops off of them. The strange conduit ring's really good. And then there's gloves that will raise your dexterity to 18 just by having them on, just to name a few. We are playing this on balanced because with our already kind of ridiculous build, tactician seemed like pushing it. Yo says, wow, a Mortem live stream. Just wanted to say, big fan. Been watching your channel since around 5K subs. Oh, wow, that's pretty awesome. I will eventually probably review Darkest Dungeon, but I'm not in really any hurry to do so. Brown says, I don't see you focusing much on flanking. So you don't have to worry too much about flanking unless you're trying to sneak attack in this game, and because it's just the easiest way to get it, but only one of my characters does that, so it's just not a big deal. Give that to them.
Looking ahead.
Enough waiting. I crave blood.
Heal up a little bit before we're about to go take excuse me. We're about to go take a bunch of damage from some fire methods. Do you know if you can get more than 2 pieces of mithril for this forge? Not that I'm aware of. The only ones I'm aware of are the mithril right there and the one with all the fire methods we're about to go get. Does front or back matter for sneak attack? No, it just matters if somebody's next to them, which will grant you what you need to use sneak attack, or if you're like invisible or something. It doesn't really matter like the angle or anything. You just need to have advantage. Alright, we'll save real quick. This is not a difficult fight, but God, is it annoying. Because they get that surprise round on you, and they use the surprise round to kind of just surround you. And then when they die, they blow up. Alright.
Let's finish this.
And there's the second wave.
I will ascend.
There's our level 6, I believe. Alright, that brings us to Gale. I really should have taken the time to set up better for this. Noob question on the difficulty settings. Yeah, there's a few different difficulties. Oh crap, I used Hellish Rebuke on something immune to fire. I was talking and just kind of clicked on it reflexively. Alright.
Need
almost done with these guys. So one has how we have 2 attacks with 1 level in each class. So 1 level of War Cleric will let you use a bonus attack, will let you use an extra attack with your bonus action if you hit with the first attack. Blue. Dogs running around my feet. Oh, alright. We got 1 more left. Switch to our bow. A critical miss. Why wouldn't we, right? Does companion approval matter at all? I mean, yeah, if you want them to like you and take the options you'd like them to take. Otherwise, they'll just do whatever they want. Omar says, hey, how's it going? Last I saw you already had 4 classes. How far did you get? We're about to take our 6th one after this fight right here. So pretty well. Alright, let's help Gale up. And walk everybody out of this fire. Gale's probably going to go right back down again.
Help, please.
Yeah. Gale, stop being useless.
That should more than suffice.
Get up. There he goes.
What's next, I wonder?
Alright, and now we can level everyone up before we go grab that mithril over there. Braden says, wait, you're doing the 12 different classes? Yes, that is the goal here. Alright, we'll save before we level up just in case. It crashed on me once while I was trying to level up and I've never trusted it since. Alright. So, next up, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference at this point, but I kind of want to go Bard just for the Bardic inspiration. Cantrips aren't going to do us much good. Alright, we'll grab those for now. Alright, there's our 1 level in Bard. Christopher says, I think all the different classes will break the game in Act 3. It'll certainly be interesting because it'll give you all those different dialogue options. It'll certainly be unique, that's for sure.
Blackets will be done. Blackets will be done.
Alright, everybody else just gets a normal level up. Brown says hard saving before leveling up is a good idea anyway, and it very much so is. That is correct. Alright, we're going to bring Lae'zel's strength to 20 with her 6th level ASI from being a fighter.
Air's ripe with magic.
Gale gets more spells and better cantrips as part of his evocation subclass. We'll grab haste and counterspell. Don't want witch bolts. I will slot counterspell. We're not really using Ray of Sickness at all, so I'll drop that and grab haste instead. Not that we'll like. I probably won't use it a ton, but I'd rather have haste than Ray of Sickness at this point.
Whatever comes, I'm ready.
And last but not least, and then for her feat, We'll bring her strength to 14 since she's using a mace, and even out wisdom, which will give her a slightly better chance to hit at least. Yeah, Gale is always trying to slot Witch Bolt into his prepared spells, and I don't like Witch Bolt at all. Like, even if it was level appropriate, I probably wouldn't use it because I just don't like it. But still. Hold on, we're gonna move some of this stuff over. Our main character's hotbar is getting kind of silly at this point. We might use some of these, so we'll keep those there.
Your desire.
This fire usually goes out on its own, but we have Gale for, I suppose.
Can't give up now.
Do I not use the extra rows? I try not to, just to keep it clean, but for those who don't know what he's talking about, if you hit this plus button right here, you can double it up. Alright, now we can grab our extra bit of mithril.
Action, not reaction.
These things have stayed interesting. On my way. Open up.
And we find ourselves towards the end of the Grim Forge. There's a fight over here, and the forge itself.
Feat of engineering it is.
The lava's erupting. Better watch my step.
This elemental that's walking around here isn't so bad. You just got to get him off the magma so he's not healing every round. Oh, is there no UI scaling options? I'm pretty sure there is. I think it scales automatically, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was. Yeah, I think it just scales automatically. I don't see an option for it specifically, but because we're on 4K right now and it's already scaled up. But all right, so there's the elemental. The trick with this guy, again, is to get him off the magma, because otherwise he heals.
My faith will protect me.
I mean, you could also just theoretically one-shot him, but I don't think we're really set up to do that, to be honest. Stone says we're approaching one of my favorite fights. Yeah, there's a really cool fight coming up here at the forge. There we go. Now, he will cast Create Lava, though, so it's still important to kind of be quick here.
Victory awaits.
Swords meet sorcery.
keeps zooming in every time I hit.
Talk to me.
Razorblade says, "Whoa, you're live." Kristoff says this guy's not even hostile. Yeah, but he's also something to kill, and this is a video game, so what do you expect? You will never know, man says, I expected you to look like Gandalf. You know, I hear something like that fairly often. Ah, see there, he heals a ton. It's a pain. I hate that. My camera would stop freaking out. Oh, looks like he bugged out a little bit. It should pass the turn automatically. They have something built in where if they'll only let the enemy turns go on for so long with that before it just forces them to end their turn.
Victory awaits.
We should have it this round though. Yeah. There it is. No cold spell scrolls. Ah, we're on balance. It's just not necessary. On Tactician, I had to, I had Gale prep some different spells and use some spell scrolls because you have to really, he has like, I want to say it's like 160 health on Tactician. So if you can't get him off the magma, you've got to be ready to burst him down pretty quick.
My eyes grow heavy. Best to make.
Alright.
Yes? I shouldn't have wished to live in more interesting times.
Eager for battle.
We'll use Lae'zel right here for her better strength for the longer jumps. She's not going to pick that lock, but she will just take it. Oh, do we? Oh yeah, we got all these molds on us. Let's drop. There we go. There we go. All right, there's a halberd over there, but it kind of sucks. There's a skeleton over there. Darren says my only real complaint is about the camera. Yeah, the camera is not always ideal. I found there are certain places where it just kind of like dives into the ground on enemy turns, or just while you're moving it, it'll get like stuck on the ground, that kind of thing. And then another thing I've noticed is that capes in particular tend to like clip through your entire body. That's not really unique to this game by any means, but just a visual thing that's distracting. Alright, so before we do this, we need to
Way to the nearest library.
properly prepare.
Eager for battle.
We don't need a ton of spell slots or anything, but because I am not specializing in bludgeoning damage,
Not as bad as it could have.
we'll have to use the forge, and that takes a little bit of setup. Teddy says, I was surprised you didn't include a certain fight in Act 3. There's a lot of really cool fights in the game. You know, you gotta narrow it down at some point. It's either you include all of them or you make some cuts, you know what I mean? A lot of people are sad I didn't include Raphael, but outside of the music track for that fight, it's just like, you know, whatever to me. Alright. That amulet gives us a quest.
The answer.
Can thou endure?
Alright, we're starting to get a bunch of tags all mixed together now, which is fun. Alright, I wonder if... So we don't have any wisdom, so some of these checks can be annoying, but with advantage I think we'll be okay.
Spikes, banishing the urge to laugh.
Thou hast return me. Take me home, and thou shalt grant.
You feel
That leads to just like a short kind of fun quest later. That thing we just picked up, but it's more for monks than it is for us. That said,
Waterdeep.
Assume nothing.
I was hoping I had a scroll of Featherfall, just because that's
Elementals are
handy.
around, so might as well.
I think we have a potion though.
Oh, I have the magic touch. Most excellent.
I've got a long road ahead.
Down comes the forge. It says by the 12th class there won't be enough space on screen for all the dialogue options. I mean, yeah, more or less. It's already kind of getting silly. But, okay, so we've got to prepare for this.
Nuggets will be done. Indolence breeds madness.
We don't really have the bludgeoning damage to do this, just brute force, but
Wits and blades always sharp.
Another step forward.
On I go.
One with the weave.
it's not all that difficult, all things considered.
I wonder what the next move is.
Shadowheart kind of freaked out there. Okay, we'll drop a save just in case this goes really poorly, but
Still breathing. Despite everything.
now we can kick this quest off. Brayden says, with this build, do I have a preferred first choice class? So we started with Fighter to get all of the proficiencies, and then we went with Rogue to get like sneak attack, and then we're going Dexterity to use like bows and things, but that was about as far as I took it. I will say one level of War Cleric was super handy just so we could grab the attack for our bonus actions, which turned out to be a lot more impactful than I initially thought it might be.
Time to insert the mechanism opening in the device.
Okay, we gotta actually set the forge up before it'll do anything for us. So I know I want the splint mail armor kind of regardless, so we'll start with that
All
one.
right. What now?
All right. Overwrite that save. Okay, here we go. Like he says, nice to see you streaming. Been following you since Wrath of the Righteous. Thanks for all the content. That's very kind of you to say. I appreciate it. Okay. Here we are with the fight against Grim.
I am fury. I am death.
Alright, well, we have terrible. I prefer to try to get him to go after Lazelle first, just because she's a little tankier, but now we move over here,
Go from here.
and then everybody else just skips their turn.
Destroyer.
Oh man, you didn't.
Battle of wits.
We're not trying to do damage, just draw his attention.
I am fury. I am death. Can't afford to let up.
That should put him right in the middle there.
One can't always be a
And then
gentleman.
Gale can hit the switch.
Hammer has no effect.
Spawns the
Somehow.
round of methods,
A
and
dull moment.
our character will hit the valve again, which takes our action.
I am death.
Lazelle take some pot shots with these guys.
I wonder if this is worth the
thing with Shadowheart. And we can keep them distracted pretty easily. Alright. Now, while he's superheated, he's vulnerable to bludgeoning damage and resistant to a ton of other stuff, but even then he's still just flat out immune to a lot of things. But the problem is we don't have basically anybody dealing any real bludgeoning damage that could get close to him, so...
Another fight. Let's go.
The nice thing is, because the timing on that, we were able to superheat him again, I think Gale's going to actually be able to hit him again before he moves. That's convenient. Normally that is not how that works. Douglas says, what multi-class do I suggest for Gale? I personally like just a straight evocation wizard, but if you were going to multi-class him, I personally would just add a few levels of sorcerer to get the meta magic. Nice. Oh, that went super smoothly. Like that, the timing on that was weird. Normally you don't get two back-to-back like that. Not that we're complaining. We'll be able to kill him super easily now.
What should I do? Let's do this.
He made Shadowheart drop her weapon and flew away from our guy here. He's dead next turn. It doesn't matter. So unless the only way he wouldn't die next turn is if he kills Gale, which is fair. Oh, there we go. There's that.
Give up. Not now.
Nice. Easy peasy. Then she can re-equip her weapon.
Moving ahead.
We can go grab our splint mail,
I'll take that.
which we are actually going to give to Lae'zel, because she will get more use out of it than we will. And then what do we want to do for our second one? I'm thinking... scale mail, but I don't remember what the AC on that is.
No one stopped me yet.
We could also do the shield one.
What's next?
Lennon says hello. Hey, how's it going? Razorblade says must be the streaming gods giving us the RNG. No, if anything, it's been the opposite, man. I've had some really rough RNG for this stream, or not like this stream specifically, but just for this run on streaming in general. We started it off with 2 nat 1s back to back. Norrison says plates. We already did the plate one, so. Yeah, we already got the plate, guys. That's the one we did first.
No one stopped me yet.
Technically it's splint, but you know what I mean. All right. Give this to Lae'zel, which will be better than what she's got on at the moment. Lennon says, am I a ginger or is it just a trick of the camera? Personally, I'm not really a ginger, but almost everyone in my family is a redhead. My son is a redhead. For me, I've just got like this ruddy brown beard, but most of my hair is brown. All right, so what was I doing? Right.
Assume nothing.
Andrew Kent said, "Are we trying to be Mark Hamill?" Not intentionally. I just very quickly made a character because I wasn't trying to spend all of our stream in character creation. All right, we're gonna make the shield. See if that's any good for Shadowheart.
I've got a long road ahead.
Indolence breeds madness.
Mithril in there.
There can be no forging without a flame. The lava.
Come on. There we go.
Onward.
All right, we'll get everybody out of the lava pit. Clinton says he's never, after 100 hours of early access, used the hammer to kill him, but found out you could through the achievement. Yeah, so if you set up like prepared to use bludgeoning damage, like it's super easy to not use the hammer.
I shouldn't have wished to live in more interesting times.
So like if you have that in mind, if you get surprised and you don't have the damage to do bludgeoning damage to kill the guy, then the hammer is really the way to go. But it's not so bad in either instance.
That helped.
All right, we'll do our short rest and then turn the wheel there. Henry wants to know what the icons are over here. So this is your reactions and things that you have set up. So these are the reactions that you could currently take under certain circumstances. Okay.
At the ready.
Here is our shield, or at least it should be. Did it bug out on me?
No use. It's blocked.
Oh, no.
Eager for
I think the second one bugged out. It didn't give us our,
quickly then.
Oh, right, I gotta hit the thing, duh. It's too busy talking. Forgot to actually hit the lever. Pull the lava back. Okay, okay, went ahead and did it. I was too busy talking, forgot what I was doing. Alright, now we can drop the rest of the molds. Because they are very heavy. These things are like 10 pounds a piece. Mr. Stone says, what achievement is here? There is an achievement for killing Grim there without using the Forge Hammer. So if you were to just kill him with weapons or just damage in general, bludgeoning weapons is what you want to use for that. So if you were to come in here with a team using maces, superheat him, then you'll actually deal double damage to him with bludgeoning damage. Okay.
No time to rest.
Shield is pretty neat. We'll give that to Shadowheart. I like the look of that shield. Raphael says, what has been my favorite playthrough yet? My first one was my favorite so far, but the second playthrough I've done, which has been my only other complete one so far, has been a ton of fun as well, my Cleric of Tiamat, but the first one's definitely the one I had the most fun with, which was the Dark Urge Warlock. Alright, so we are officially done here. And I don't believe we have any quests that we need to sort out, which means we are free to move on to the Mountain Pass. We will take a quick trip to the Myconid colony to get a vendor real fast.
Sustain an entire village if seeded properly.
Provided they have any gold left. We've been eating up all this woman's available gold, but Lennon says, are we playing a bard? Because that what comes to my mind when I think of all Jack of all trades. We have a level in bard, but we're playing a lot of things. Do I think spirit weapons have enough oomph to do it? By themselves,
Ruby,
no. Like,
come
if you just
across
had
a noble
one,
stock
it wouldn't
mushroom
be
about.
enough damage
You
just
give
on
it
its own.
here. Gods know I've earned it.
Chopstorm says, thoughts on the original soundtrack? How does it compare to DOS 2's? I am not a big music guy, to be honest with you. In general, I would say I'm more familiar with DOS 2's, but I was an artilleryman in the army, and I have a tiny bit of hearing loss. It's not like substantial, but sometimes it's hard for me to hear things that people talk about when it comes to music. So I don't really feel comfortable commenting on it much, which is why I don't really ever talk about it in my reviews. So I can hear something and feel like I like it, but I'm always just really self-conscious talking about sound stuff, so I usually just don't. Oh, Maniac donated $10. But thanks for all the great content. Sadly, I'm working out of town for another 2 weeks, so I can't play, but I am grateful for the donation, and you've actually made several in some videos, which I have noticed, so thanks for those as well. But I hope you get to play before too long, because it is a fantastic game. All right, I believe that's everything we needed to sell. Yeah. All right. We have gotten like several thousand gold from that one merchant.
We'll have to be more watchsome next time.
Okay, and now we are free to head to the Mountain Pass, which I believe Joaquin's Rest is the closest waypoint to that. Darren says a 12B myself. I understand the tinnitus. Yeah. It's a common enough problem, so it's, I don't know how many people are aware of this, but many years ago, there was a lawsuit against 3M about the earplugs that they provided for the Army, and it led to some hearing loss in some soldiers, and I was in the Army using those hearing plugs while I was an artilleryman, which, if I had to guess, was probably why, but it's a whole thing. All right, we'll say before we move into the Mountain Pass, if I had to say who will be the first Origin character I play through as, probably Will. I have a build in mind for Will that I'm hoping is going to be super fun. We shall see. My dog pushed my green screen around. I didn't notice how bad it was. Madicon asked if the performance in Act 3 was very bad for everybody. It wasn't great for me. I've heard a lot of complaints about the performance in Act 3. Sorry, I guess my dog's trying to lay at my feet and he's pushing the green screen around. Henry says, I skipped this area completely because I got scared of the Githyanki and the Shadow Curse. That is fair. So initially, when the game was in early access, they kind of made it seem like you'd have to choose the Mountain Pass, like, or the Underdark, but you can actually do both.
The most powerful texts are engraved in slate. But
There is one fight up here on the road that's actually pretty difficult before we get into the monastery proper. And then there is a quest we will be able to auto-complete because we have the owlbear egg from earlier as an alternative solution of sorts.
Who's that?
So this woman, Lady Esther, wants us
Look
to
over there. Honestly, I was
steal
doing them a favor offering to buy one of their
an
eggs.
egg from the Githyanki.
This, I'm sure your friend would
However,
agree. I'm not. You'll be well compensated. It looks different to what I
If you
expected.
have the owlbear egg,
Are you sure that's a Gith egg?
you can be like, how about this instead? Raphael asks, is this still Act 1? Technically, this is still Act 1, as
rather
it is
like
not...
this plan.
Act 2 doesn't officially begin until you step into the Shadow-Cursed Lands, which we have not done yet, which is like the next area. The only thing we've got left in Act 1 is this Mountain Pass area. Lego Folk asked, do we know if Rogue Trader is releasing this year? I do not, but I think the earliest it would release is like November, December at this point. So it's certainly not impossible, but I wouldn't really be expecting it either. Does this quest have any outcome later on? Not that I've seen. You can find the society she works for in Baldur's Gate, but it doesn't really seem to have any effect on anything there, or at least not that specific thing anyway. Alright, there's a bunch of traps around here. And there's a fight up there. The unbelievable Beaver says I just ran into that staff bit for the ice that you were talking about earlier. Yeah. Somebody was kind enough to point out where the last one was. I actually skipped over it because I didn't kill somebody that normally just dies on my playthroughs. But yeah, you can get a pretty cool staff if you combine all those ice parts together. Okay.
I'm ready. Whatever it takes.
So this fight can be a little tricky. Because these guys, these Death Shepherds, will just resurrect these ghouls over and over again until they're both dead. But the thing is, they can also resurrect each other. Which does not seem fair. Doesn't help my initiative roll was terrible. What's my opinion on the statistics Larian released? I think it's cool they released them. I don't really have much else to say about them besides. I think it's crazy that I was one of the first people to beat this game. Because they had 368 people beat it on the opening weekend, and I had it done before that even, with my review copy. So like realistically, I was one of the first people to beat it, period, which is super cool. I hit a mine. Okay. Oh, there he is. I was like, what happened to the other one? All right. And now they're all spaced out weird because they hit that trap.
Indeed.
I don't know if I can do what I was trying to do now, which is... Okay, I can still get all of them with lightning bolt. Not that it did much.
Swift and lethal.
For that guy, anyway. Gotta get rid of his temporary health at the very least. The tricky part is these guys need to die at roughly the same time or they'll just resurrect each other, which is incredibly annoying. We might have to reload this one. This has not gone well. Riposte. Well, there's one down, but realistically, I think that other one's going to res him before we get a chance to do much about it. Yeah, here he goes. Counter spell. Oh, nice. We were able to put a stop to it. Yeah, Cloud of Daggers is fantastic for this, but they hit a repulsion mine that knocked them all over the place, so... Using it now wouldn't be ideal, though. I could probably get those three. Yeah. The issue was, until that guy ran over there, I wasn't really hitting anybody with it.
Strike.
Of course. Is there anything you should be doing to make sure you're not under-leveled? Right now, I'm great. I'm actually a little over-leveled, technically. As you can go to the Shadow Curse lands now, but we are right on track as far as levels go, so no concern there. Okay, I really need to hit this guy. And I missed, because why wouldn't I? Oh my god. We had like every opportunity to kill this guy. Like that is painful to watch.
Death's close at hand.
Okay, try it again before he resurrects the other one. There we go. Good grief.
Take two.
We should be okay here, but this has not gone well.
The lance board is set.
All right. That one. Okay. Lae'zel's been doing some work in this fight at the very least. Dalsri says dice have not liking you today. Yeah, this fight just did not go well. Ideally, while they were all grouped up, I would have been able to hit them with a fireball, but it just didn't quite pan out before I got hit, and then a repulsor mine knocked them all around me. The comedy of errors.
No blue.
Aaron asked what the Jack of all trade achievements involves. It is getting one level in every class without respecking. Riposte is a fantastic feature. It's one of my favorite things about Battlemaster. There we go.
Looking ahead.
That was painful, but we got the win. So do I multi-class or change the original of the companion origin characters? Normally I would. For instance, I would change Shadowheart to the Tempest Cleric build that I posted. However, because I'm going for this achievement, I don't know if just respecking period might accidentally void the achievement, so I've been hesitant to actually do so, but under normal circumstances I would, yes. And since we're just on balanced anyway, I'm not wildly concerned about it. Got an Ice Storm scroll, that is awesome. We're actually probably going to make use of that here in a minute.
On my way.
Still alive, so that's progress. Wonder if the gods are watching me. Broken. Need to find another way.
Okay. Alright, we're going to long rest before we go any farther, but we have a conversation to be had up here, and then we are going to head to the monastery, where we'll be doing a bunch of exploring and fighting. Daniel says there's full plate on the Zealot back there, and you're right, because if I'm not mistaken, that full plate is 18 AC, and we are 17, so you're right. That actually should be an upgrade, and I didn't think about it. Alright, don't think anybody wants to have a conversation, so we can just crash. What was my starting character setup to make this work? We started with Fighter to get all of the proficiencies, and then we went Rogue for sneak attack, and we're using dexterity for like bows and the things. We took a level in Cleric to give us a second attack via bonus actions, thanks to our War Priest extra attack charges, which has kept us surprisingly competitive. I wouldn't say we're doing great damage-wise, but this character is stronger than I anticipated. Christopher asks if DOS 2 is on par with Baldur's Gate 3. DOS 2 is a lower production value than this is, by all accounts. However, it is still an incredibly great game. Internet Andy asks if I named the character Absurd after the Puffin Forest character. Yeah, that's the idea. So when you take one level in every class, there's a sort of internet meme people reference to about it being absurd, which is why we named the character that. Raphael says, is this character fun? That depends on your definition of fun, really. Normally, I would have something a little more power gamey set up that would see me doing a lot more damage, but it's been kind of fun to see this actually work, so there's that. Mr. Vader asks about the odd numbers in stat for character creation. So I went odd numbers to max out the stuff we were using. That way, in case I got the hag hair, we could have used them, which it just didn't wind up happening. But the thing is, even if I had taken those down to even numbers, it wouldn't have given me anything interesting. At most, I probably just wouldn't have had a negative to wisdom, or would have like a +1 to strength or something. So could I have changed it a little bit? Sure, but it wouldn't really have made much of a difference.
I know a minstrel bite.
All right.
Young.
Now we can talk to Elminster, who wants to speak to Gale because he's in our party.
With his wise.
Yes. I'm here on behalf of Mistra is aware of
And
the
Mistra is
misadventures that
asking
have
Gale
befallen
to
you.
blow himself up with his
She
Netherese
knows
orb
of your
condition to
strife with the
put a
absolute.
stop to the
That is
absolute.
why I have come. You must find the heart of the absolute.
What a terrible thing to say.
It is done to you. I commit and to care.
On an audience with Elminster is never. I'd have hoped to introduce you to him in less dire circumstances. But those are. Time seems so infinite, and I along with it.
That remains ahead of us for now.
Lovi joined the channel as a member. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. I'm going to use this Illithid power we've been holding on to forever.
No rest for the wicked, I see.
Our character's okay for now, but I would like to give Gale Psionic Backlash, and then we'll start getting everybody else Psionic Backlash as well. Okay. Now we can head to the monastery proper.
Let's explore.
So this over here is where we would enter the Shadow-Cursed lands, which would officially begin Act 2, which, I mean, we could do if we wanted to, but we're going to go explore the monastery first. Brian Fain also joined as a member. Thank you so much. Do I think after I play the origin characters I might change my opinion on any of them? I mean, I wouldn't rule it out as a possibility. But we shall see. Have I tried any playthroughs with an origin character yet? Not full playthroughs. I've dabbled a smidge, but that and having seen the options of their stories via save scumming from a custom character standpoint, I'm pretty familiar with them. But
No one back home will ever
the
believe this.
origin playthroughs are what I'm going to be doing after my third custom run, which I'm working on right now, in addition to what we're doing here. Does the party have any qualms about the PC using tadpoles? Not a ton. It can be difficult to convince them to do so, but generally most of them don't seem to care that much, or not in any way that can't be mitigated. Lovey donated 10 of a currency I'm not familiar with. I apologize, but said, be right back. Playing Baldur's Gate 3, but wait for your 100%. That's kind of you. I appreciate it. I think it will... oh, okay.
Elements.
Hold on.
That does near it. Why
Almost
does
forgot
she
about
demand-
the repulsor mine. So, repulsor mines just throw you around, so if I had hit that, it probably would have thrown me off the ledge. Which would have been funny, but still. Waterbore says, hey Mort, hey chat, how's it going, man? Okay. Making our way downtown. Saved against that repulsor mine we just ran over, but that one was less likely to have thrown us off. Am I planning on making a lore supercut video of Baldur's Gate 3 like I did with DOS 2? I would like to do something like that, but it'll probably be the last thing I do. Once I've completed all my playthroughs and I've done the review and everything, there will almost certainly be something like that, but that is a ways out. Like, I'm so far away from being able to make that video, but I would love to do that, yes. Just so to give people an idea, I mean, this was years ago, but I remember it just because it was so much work. The DOS 2 one, both the playthrough for that video and the work itself to make that video was like 80 hours. And that's not including all of the playtime and knowledge I had from just playing that game so much over the years. So those videos are just an extreme amount of work. Plus, I'm not even done figuring out everything else about the game yet. Okay.
Lovely day this, for now.
All's well that ends. Not as bad as it could have. Very well.
And here is the base of the monastery. And then we can explore the entire outside before heading into the inner portion. The outside portion's pretty big, though. There's a lot to explore. Brian Fain says indexing all your footage for something like that big must be a task. Yeah, it's a lot. I've already got like 200 gigs of footage for this game, and I'm not even barely started all my playthroughs yet.
Silence!
All right, so there we see the Yankee pushing some people into their creche.
Lathunder.
trampler of the undead.
So the Githyanki aren't fond of the
And we can
cultists.
start exploring. There are a couple of fights on the outside here. Nothing too
Within the
crazy,
artifact
like
of
nothing that I'm
feeling
concerned about by
stirs.
any means, but
Uncertainty.
mostly there's just a lot to explore in this monastery.
Your curiosity is getting the better of you.
What?
Do not
What do you
let
mean,
it.
too drunk?
Stay away from the
Not
Githyanki.
possible.
They're hunting you. They want the artifact.
Alright, so in here we can find
They'll
a bunch
stop at
of
nothing
drunk
to take it
kobolds.
from you.
And before people get on me about my pronunciation,
in it.
I know that it is odd,
Quite ready
but I
for
will
you.
not change it. Yeah, so a bunch of kobolds in here have been getting into the fire wine. Do I have any difficulty learning what the hidden achievements are for BG3? No. So you can just look at them on Steam. You just click a button and they're there. Pretty easy. Okay. So we're going to use the scroll of Ice Storm we picked up to kill a bunch of them all at once. Oh wow. Even with that surprise, some of them still got to go first. That's a weird initiative roll. CJ5426 says, love your channel so much. Please never change your intro. Yeah, I love that intro, man. A fan of the channel actually offered to make the music for it. That piece, that little chime is unique to the channel. Their website is linked in the description of all my videos too. But they really knocked that out of the park.
These boots have seen everything.
I will ascend.
A really great start there.
No mercy.
How am I able to use the halberd light of creation? It drops off a boss and we picked it up. That's pretty much it. It will occasionally stun you sometimes, which is the downside, but we're about to get a much better thing for her anyway, so I'm not too concerned about it. At the last part of the monastery, you can get a fantastic weapon for Lae'zel. The Golden Howard said, thanks for everything you do. What's my personal favorite TTRPG? Pathfinder, hands down. Advanced Level Gaming says they really wanted a kobold companion, or at least a friendly NPC. It would have been nice. I think Deacon is hard to replicate, and there are a couple of friendly ones you can meet in Baldur's Gate that are pretty cool to see.
To strike. Make way.
May the dice roll in my favor.
Torment!
I think we just about got this one wrapped up. That ice storm right at the beginning really made that super easy. Not that it's a very difficult fight to begin with, honestly, but still. Alright, one of these guys has a ceremonial mace or something like that that we need. Thoughts on games like Final Fantasy Tactics or Tactics Ogre? The remake of Tactics Ogre I did a big review for last year, if you want my full thoughts on that one. But generally speaking, I love a good TRPG. I think they're great. Yes. Oh no, we already picked it up. The mace. I was talking and forgot. Alright, so the ceremonial weapons we need to save for a puzzle up here. Diablo 4 asked, will I be playing Starfield? I will most definitely be playing Starfield. It's going to be a little bit awkward still, because there's very little chance of me being done with Baldur's Gate 3 by then. I mean, it's not impossible, but it's unlikely, to be sure. But I will definitely be playing it.
That's curious.
David said I used a guide for that puzzle, and apparently there's a rusty mace that works too. Yeah, so one of the maces, you have to dig up the grave of the monastery's leader, which is like over in a corner, and it has a rusty mace in it. I believe that's the one you're talking about.
Oh, action, not reaction.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
Grief.
Indolence breeds madness. Leave no survivors.
Can't give up now.
Alright, there's a fight in here. Okay, so... Brian says I meant to move but started a party conversation thing, probably my only complaint. Yeah, it happens all the time. Not a huge deal, but honestly, it's pales in comparison to like the camera, for instance. Now, yeah, this is right. So there's a fight in here. I don't know if we'll see them, but there's like a group of enemies right here, over here, and then in one other spot.
Oh, I have the magic touch.
That way.
I want to say they're right here. Yeah. I was off a little bit, but I got at least one of them. Do I have a favorite class build yet? I love warlocks, just as a general fact, but my Cleric of Tiamat build that I made was just ridiculous. That wound up being so much fun. But we shall see. I haven't gotten like too deep into builds outside of like companions and stuff, so outside of just like really generic stuff that's hard to call a build so much as just playing the game, but
you bow or you break.
The witching hour. Oh yes. Looks like using magic around these things is more trouble than it's worth.
if you're not careful and you hit these guys with magic and you don't kill them fast enough, they'll turn into much stronger enemies, which is where the big part of this fight is supposed to come into play, but I think we'll be okay here. Ashton says they kept duplicating. Yeah, these, like, it's, if you kill them super quickly, they don't have a chance to do anything, but they have a bunch of abilities that, if they manage to use them, can be really annoying to deal with. But It really just depends on if you manage to hit them, for instance. To just these three. So this is probably a little bit overkill.
Swift and lethal.
There we go. And last but not least. There.
These boots have seen everything.
Can't believe Mistra actually
Almost stepped into the electrified water there.
Seek and you shall find me.
Still breathing, despite everything. How much farther can I go? I bet that'll fit in my pack. No traps, please.
We're trying to get into this room over here.
Don't give me trouble now.
Justin says, "Hey yo, how's it going?" Sandwich says your character kind of looks like Wolfhard FPS. I don't think Wolfhard's beard is quite that glorious, but sure. Student T says, "I think this is a lot more like Dragon Age Origins than current RPGs." It certainly has some inspiration from Dragon Age Origins, especially. There's some stuff towards the end where you're like, I've definitely seen exactly this in Dragon Age Origins, so. It does have that quality to it. I can see where you would get that from. All right, that should pretty much be everything here.
I can keep going a little longer now.
Take a short rest. Go out this door. And then the puzzle we need the ceremonial stuff for is up here. One of them's already in place, so it kind of gives you a clue as to what to do. And then I don't remember the order these go in, but they'll just kind of knock you down if you get it wrong. But basically you want to lay the ceremonial stuff on top of these altars until they light up. And then we still got to go find the other two. It's also possible, but incredibly difficult, to bypass this completely.
That's curious.
And try to lockpick this, but the DC is crazy high. I was able to pass this one time with Astarion, but on this character I just don't think we have the bonuses to make that happen. Raphael says a lucky nat 20. I mean, it's possible, but I'm not really going to try to brute force it when I could just find the ceremonial weapons. Because one of them's in here, and then one of them's on the roof. Speaking of, I actually think yeah. I always forget where the entrance to that room is, but it is over here through this window. DJ says, I had no idea you could drag items and drop them on a portrait. There's a lot of stuff like that. There's even like a shift click function to select multiple things at once even. Okay, now we just gotta break the bookcase. Okay, so...
Guardian of Faith spell, and a remarkably long-lasting one at that.
The Guardian of Faith is a little bit annoying. Everybody would get in the room here. Guardians of Faith lose health as they deal damage.
Victory awaits.
So it's not a huge deal to fight them, but it can be annoying.
Let's go.
Have to keep going.
There we go.
Not going to last much longer.
I'll feel that one later.
There's our ceremonial battle axe.
The crush.
Oh, good grief. I keep accidentally clicking on them. Oh, in my opinion, how big is Baldur's Gate 3 when compared to the Pathfinder games? It's a little bit smaller.
Wizard's quite
not a ton, and depending on how much you go through things.
Sleep
And
beckons.
there are a lot of situations that have a bit more freedom of approach, so to speak. But I would say Wrath of the Righteous, the main story is about the same length, but there's a lot more going on there because of the mythic paths. And then Kingmaker is just an incredibly long game. Alright, now we just gotta go get the one off the roof. Nostromo says, I saw Mort streaming on YouTube and wondered what game could it be. It's truly a mystery, to be sure. Alright.
Something over there.
I like that they use their perception to notice a wall I had already knocked down personally.
A fallen Githyanki warrior. A crash must be close.
Alright, and then over here next to some of these giant eagles is our last ceremonial weapon.
These things have stayed interesting.
Alright, there's that. There's vines everywhere right here. Okay, so there's only two of them, and unfortunately we have to get them, because the second you pick up the Warhammer, even if you can persuade them not to attack you initially, they will attack you as soon as you pick it up. He says, I promised to have that bird and totally forgot about the eagles. Alright, so... this fight's not bad, all things considered. It's just the two of them. Just kind of spread out in a really annoying way there at the beginning.
Can't even catch my breath. May the dice roll in my favor.
Focus. Down with you.
That should be that, as long as you didn't miss. Can always count on Shadowheart. Oh, okay.
What's in here?
Raphael asked if I like the changes they made to the monk. I think they made some pretty good changes there. They did a lot of stuff to make the monk more interesting, and it's definitely better than the regular class in 5e, in my opinion. But I think it's safe to say I enjoy it, sure. Okay. Now we can jump down here. Take a little bit of HP damage, but oh well. This lets us grab some chests around the way. That's a pretty cool helmet. Don't know that anyone really needs it though. And there is one more thing over here.
I'm ready.
Let's get going. With haste.
And I think he's gonna have some trouble getting down. But we can just feather fall him and be done with it. And everybody else should follow. Any tips for people doing this achievement? So far, it hasn't been that difficult, to be honest with you. When I get done with this complete run, I will probably turn it into a guide of some fashion just to kind of show people how I did it. But, I mean, realistically, it's time consuming because you got to get to level 12 without respecking, which is not a short task no matter how you slice it. But beyond that, it's really not too difficult here on Balanced. If you wanted to push it to Tactician, I think it would be much more difficult, but I mean, it's just not necessary, so. Otherwise, I would say start with Fighter or Paladin, try to get all your martial stuff, and then one level in War Cleric has been surprisingly useful thanks to its extra attack via the bonus action.
Oh, enough waiting. I crave blood.
What's that? Breathe deep.
Nostromo says trying to get the missus to play, but she's too into Diablo. It'd be like that sometimes. Alright, we'll get a bunch of XP for stepping in here. Then we can unlock the main door while we're at it, before we go
I'll give it a shot.
explore the outside, because we're not quite done out there yet. And we still got to go put the Warhammer where it goes. Yeah, so another thing we did, as Student T points out, or mentions anyway, is that we took Rogue, which allows us to take a bunch of proficiencies.
Open up.
Via expertise, and then just all of our classes in general. So the nice thing about this build, and probably the only strength it does have, is that you get a ton of skill checks and things you can pass, both because of all the classes, as well as just everything you have proficiency in. So you do kind of sort of make up for your lack of combat prowess via that. Which class did I start with? I started with Fighter for all of our armor and weapon proficiencies. Alright, that's the rusty mace they were talking about, and then if you read this, this is the previous head of the monastery. And then if you climb down this way, there's an alternative way in right there. You mostly climbed down for the chest there.
Eager for battle.
What path lies before me?
And then we can head back into the main room, loot a few more things before heading farther in. Oh no, wait, hold on. We gotta go turn in that warhammer real quick. Climb up the roots here. Almost forgot. You don't need to do this part to get the puzzle that it points you towards solved, but you do get some XP for doing this, which is why we're gonna go ahead and do it. We probably won't hit level 7 until right when we go into the Shadow Cursed lands. And then Act 2 is surprisingly short compared to Act 1 and Act 3. I mean, it's not small by any means, but it's not nearly as long as everything else is. Alright, that opens this door. Gets us this Dawn Master's Crest, and we read that.
Blood sounds important. Could it still be here somewhere?
The Dawn Master's Crest helps you open the door to the thing. Student says, personally, I don't understand why a multi-classing fighter doesn't give heavy armor proficiency. Yeah, it's just the second class you take, and compared to the one you start with, just gets lesser proficiencies as part of 5e. It's just to make them not like incredibly overpowered. But cleric can actually help you overcome that a little bit because their domains will come with proficiencies sometimes. So that's a way around it. Atlas Tesla asks, besides the multi-class achievement, what other achievements do I have left? I have the achievement for romancing Karlach, or there's a date you have to go on with Karlach that has an achievement associated with it. I presume because they showed it off as part of like the final panel or whatever. And then the other achievement is saving every tiefling it's possible to save in a single run. So not too much left as far as achievements go. And then after I knock those out, the only thing I'll have left is the origin character playthroughs. Nostromo says, too many spoilers. I gotta finish at least one playthrough before watching the stream. But yeah, fair enough. Appreciate you stopping by, though. Jager Khan says, hello, everybody. How's it going? Hope you're having a good day as well. All right, and now we can enter the Get the Yankee Kresh.
Ready and willing.
Why is Shadowheart all the way over here? Alright, looks like Shadowheart got stuck outside.
Onward in her name.
And I completely failed to notice, so we need to walk her back to where she's supposed to be. Steve Rogers says, good evening, Mortismal. How's it going? John Rainsell says, I unknowingly got the achievement to save all tieflings on the first run. Nice. I probably would have gotten it on my first run, but I couldn't be bothered to find where Zevlor was in Act 2, which was a quest I didn't complete. And that's more than likely the only thing I was missing, because beyond that, I saved pretty much everybody else on my first run, so I just got to be a little more diligent. Background Traveler says hello from Hong Kong. How's it going? Snorrison says Blood of Lathander is inside the Kresh. Yeah, it's behind a very difficult athletics check to come.
What to do?
There it goes.
Don't waste a step.
So first we got to do a few other things.
I expected no visitors. The faithful report.
Lae'zel can get you in here pretty much free of charge. At least for a little bit. Onat says, hello, free chat message. Nice. How does BG3 compare to Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, in my opinion? I have answered this a million times, to be honest with you, but I appreciate your preemptive apology about it being asked a bunch. I haven't decided fully yet. I'll likely make a video on it when I'm ready to talk about it completely. Raphael says, what's the origin of the name Mortismal? It is Mortem, which I go by online, combined with Abysmal, which was supposed to be a joke about me being bad at games when I first made the YouTube channel. Ubin says, do you know where to find Zevlor, though? No, I didn't bother to look for him, so I wasn't actually sure where he was, but I wasn't very thorough either, so I imagine I'll be able to find him sooner or later. Okay. Save right before this. Because this is where Lae'zel will try to get purified.
It might be useful.
We can also pretty easily steal some Mind Flayer parasites. Because that woman has
There's
zero
a parasite
perception.
nearby. You should take a closer look.
Give Gale Psionic Backlash. And then
I crave blood.
I think we will, real quick, see if we can't talk Lae'zel into taking Luck of the Far Realms.
You consume all the gate tadpoles you wish. I'm not so
Which is a very difficult persuasion check, but we've got both guidance and our amulet giving us. Oh, that's unique with guidance. I think we'll take guidance. It's a difficult check, but nice. Got it first try. Lovi says, thanks for the good content. I appreciate it. Max says, just came here to say you rock it. That's very kind of you to say. I appreciate it.
No, that's absurd. When the tadpole hit what my faith in Vlaakith will guide me, and my own might will sustain me. I have no need of this depraved
another one.
power.
Which is substantially easier. Rolled a 29.
Very well. I will swallow my...
Okay, and now that Lae'zel is good to go, we can give her Luck of the Far Realms.
Let's get going. Swift as my feet can carry me.
If you actually manage to pass some of the checks we're about to do, you can get a cool benefit, but I'm not going to sit here and try to make sure that I get it done.
Tell me. I go to the safest. Even Githyanki rarely experiences aphids.
But this is what the Githyanki supposedly use to cure tadpole infections.
And you feel Lae'zel's mind rip and rupture. Is this purification? Your vision narrows. You sense myriad specters of Githyanki
if you pass some of these checks, you can get a pretty good bonus, but I just don't think I'm going to have the ability to do so, frankly, unless I just get stupid lucky.
The visions flicker.
Otherwise, this goes until... she blows the machine up, more or less.
There's something in her voice that goes beyond
At this point, this woman gets very suspicious, but we can try to fool her.
Whatever it is, you cannot either.
Which we passed.
In any case.
At which point we have to go speak to the Gith commander.
Someone must have tampered with
Lae'zel is naturally very upset.
Can't begin to comprehend.
But she's about to get her whole world shattered, so that's a thing. Alright. And now we can make our way to the other side of the creche. We'll stop by the vendor on our way. Because realistically, we would actually benefit from the gloves of Dex, but we don't need them ourselves, really. I mean, it would be a benefit, but not a huge one. Shadowheart would benefit the most because her stats suck and I'm not respecting her. Because I'm worried about it voiding the achievement. Whether it does or not, I have no idea, but...
I'd heard this plane was disgusting.
But yeah, these gloves right here. Oh. And then you can also get this really cool dagger, Knife of the Undermountain King. I mean, we're not really using that at all, but it's very cool. Don't think we need anything else. Those are really cool gloves, but I just don't have a use for it. I'd rather him have the AC, honestly. But yeah, I think we're pretty much good there.
On your way, then.
Lost
And then
Wits and blades always sharp.
What to do?
we'll give these two Shadow Heart, but she's not going to make full use of them until we grab her a proper dex weapon.
No one back home will ever
Back
believe.
so
She doesn't have a dex weapon, does she? Wasn't paying attention. No, not really.
Go on, then.
But that way,
Going.
Shadow Heart is a little better at actually hitting something. Raphael says, so when do you start to find legendary items? Well, we're about to find one of the earliest ones, but they're usually like things like quest rewards and the like. Would BG3 be a good start for a first-time CRPG? I mean, realistically, it's one of the best places to start playing CRPGs. Many of them are more complicated than this, at least in terms of learning their rule set, and this has all this production value and cinematic quality, so there's a lot of reasons to start here. Alright. Now we can talk to the captain.
And don't tell her anything.
You are one of the mercenaries we engaged, are you?
Now, basically, you can either talk her in your way in here, or you can just show her the weapon and she'll just kind of let you go back automatically. There's a variety of ways to do it, but honestly the easiest way is to just show her the thing. Or you could just start a fight. Which is also a valid option.
Focus, strike true.
Hilariously, even if you come in here guns blazing, it kind of winds up the same way. Oh, Lae'zel dropped her weapon. That's awful for us. Oh, and so did you. Ooh. Honestly, we're going to reload it just because we both dropped our weapon. I mean, it's possible I could still win, but it's really just not worth the hassle.
Swift as my feet can carry me.
Think the Kithrak will cheer up when we find
Brian says, I think
we
being
all
5e alone makes it really accessible. Yeah. Again, 5e is just an easier rule set to get into. Not particularly difficult, which helps a lot. And then Larian's also made a bunch of changes to that rule set to even make it easier, so variety of reasons there. Darren says you do get the best, fantastic great sword. Yeah, we'll be doing that. We'll be getting her great sword to be sure. There's a slightly easier way to approach this fight, which we're gonna do.
Meanwhile, Illithid's... I do not know. What was that look?
So you can just show her the artifact and she'll just like walk you back or unlock the door even.
The Inquisitor awaits. Follow the...
At which point you can head back, take care of a few other things.
This place is even more foreboding than the rest of the crash.
What armor is my main character using? Just a generic bit of plate mail, nothing crazy.
Most respect. This Inquisitor sounds like a daunting chap. But who knows? Perhaps he'll answer our questions.
It's never been that simple before. I don't know why it would be now.
So, in like an odd twist of events, like no matter how you play out like this scenario in this crash, it more or less goes the same way.
Our esteemed guest.
First, we can loot the room, or at least most of it.
We have much to discuss.
it's gonna be considered all stealing till I kill these guys. But the puzzle is over here, but we have to pass an athletics check to
I have the knowledge you need.
actually get it. Okay. So...
Blackets will be done.
I'm ready. Whatever it takes.
Blackets will be done.
Shouldn't have wished to live in more interesting times.
I'm ready.
Ignorance breeds madness.
Alright. We're gonna save scum this if I don't get it. Oh, nice. Got it first try. That is literally a first. So that's actually a pretty difficult athletics check. So you have to get a 25, and we managed to roll a 27 with all our modifiers. It helps if you know about it. That way you can do stuff like cast guidance, but
Well, in it.
still. And that'll unlock this. I think I have them turned the wrong way.
Statues reveal the hidden.
Reason for not quick saving. I like to have all the saves. That way I can like load them up for content and thing. Like if I need a specific thing. So it's just a little better. Aaron says you can grease the statue, which I'm also aware of. But like you know, I could also just save scum.
This stayed hidden all this time.
I mean, there are definitely checks higher than that. Saul asks about that. Checks can go up to like 30, but and that's the highest athletics check that I'm aware of. Alright, and now we have to navigate all these traps, which is honestly not that bad.
You've made a grave mistake.
Okay. Now this next part I think is going to be a little bit tricky. Because you have to destroy some stuff, and our guy isn't exactly super useful, so we'll see how it pans out. Oh, okay, so...
You have my attention. Onward.
I definitely want Gale outside of it.
Blackets will be done.
Lae'zel is realistically probably my weakest range damage dealer, so
Let's get on with it.
she can
Keep going.
stay out, I think. Or stay in, rather.
Assume nothing.
Okay. Alright, so once we try to take this mace,
No time to rest.
I wonder if I can just... That'll just give it to me. Oh, nice. Okay. Last time I did it, I didn't have the crest on me, and I had to do the whole... If you don't have the crest, you have to, like, destroy everything. It's a giant pain. But it looks like we are good to go.
Let's move.
Action, not reaction.
And that gives us the Blood of Lathander,
No time to dally.
which we'll be giving to Shadowheart for the time being, unless she happens to find a better finesse weapon.
All's well that ends not as bad as it could have.
And that should have deactivated the other traps through here, so we should be able to just walk back.
Tighter the security, the juicier the prize.
Why not use the group
Is that
ungroup button?
such a
Because I'm a
surprise?
creature of habit.
It looks powerful enough to level a mountain.
If not over, then through.
Okay, so the thing about taking that, though, is that it usually... Okay, no, they're good. Sometimes that, like, auto-turns these guys hostile, but I assume because we used the crest, it wasn't a big deal.
Vlaakith's power is endless. Her patience is not. Approach. I won't
Alright.
ask again.
And now we're going to wind up getting into a fight with these guys.
Can't afford to stay idle. Need to keep going.
Crush Yillik with me to the death.
Infelium Fear!
Which can be a little frustrating, but I think we'll wind up being okay. Did you ungroup for the shard trials? I usually only just use one person for the shard trials.
Swift and lethal.
Okay, and with any luck, Azel will have some good hits here. Parries. Nice.
Your life is over. Al-Sama Salama.
Alright, we're in a pretty good spot overall. Trying to think of what I want to hit him with. I think that's probably my best option there. Nice. Did I skip the cutscene and just go to fighting? Yeah, you can. Like, if you know you're going to fight him anyway, you might as well just attack, you know? Save yourself the trouble. Maybe a little bit of power gaming, but ironically, even if you fight them, the next cutscene, like, happens anyway. So it's not that much of a loss. Alright. Well, I think we'll take the roll on her 50% here. Could literally go either way. Nice. Alright, it shouldn't be too much of a big deal to just wrap up the rest of these guys. How does parrying even work in this game? It's just an ability we have. It reduces damage. Alright, they got Gale.
Time to strike.
Swift as my feet can carry me.
Good hit. just about got this.
No choice but to keep going.
I wouldn't be critically missing.
Still breathing, despite everything.
Inquisitor
There we go.
Wargas was potent.
My queen.
And then you get this cutscene with Vlaakith.
The deathless queen has spoken. You will obey.
You
Shema.
use istic. You bear
She
that
demands
which
you
is
enter the
ours.
relic to kill
But Are you
someone.
friend, or are you?
You must accept. Refuse, and you will know my fury.
Beware.
And no matter what you say, they're kind of. It's not like a final choice by any means.
Wonder if the gods are watching me.
And then we can enter the astral plane there for a second. First, we can pick up and loot everything now. Help Gale up. Since no Hexblade, do I think they should have added medium armor shields to one of the Warlock subclasses so you don't have to burn a feat? I mean, you can realistically just pick like a race like the Githyanki or Shield Dwarves for it. I don't think it's that big of a deal. There's our strange conduit ring. Which I don't know is going to be super useful for us this round. This particular playthrough. Alright, and then a Potion of Angelic Slumber, which is basically a free rest. Circlet of Psionic Revenge, which is pretty good.
Enough waiting. I crave blood.
I prefer her Grim Skull Helm, though.
So that's progress. Best be on my way.
What do I think is the best three-person class setup? Probably the one where you use all four people, I would guess.
Salutations.
Alright.
Ready.
No one stopped me yet.
We'll throw that circlet on him, but I don't know how much use we're actually going to get out of that.
Direct me.
Alright, Gale can use our rest potion since he's the one who actually needs it.
Looking ahead.
If it would actually go to his inventory, jeez.
I've got a long road ahead.
Alright,
Light on my feet.
then... There's some stuff over in this room we can grab. None of this stuff is super useful, but something's better than nothing. But realistically, the next thing we're going to get is the... great sword off the captain in the other room. Space Ghost says, been hearing about Act 2 and 3 bugs. I don't know after their hot fixes today how everything is going, but Act 3 in particular could be a little buggy in terms of a few things, but even then it was still very playable. Okay, so Just need to make sure everybody's healed up, really.
What's next, I wonder?
All right. What now?
Don't do it!
Heat your mind a time.
Then we find ourselves in the astral plane,
These boots have seen everything.
where we can loot some stuff, but this is a pretty small area. You don't have access to a whole bunch of stuff right here. Basically, it says frame rate drop in the city. It's touch and go. Sometimes it's fine. Sometimes it messes up a little bit. But again, they're actively patching it, and then with different system specs, it's hard to give like a this is how it's going to work for everyone kind of approach. But yeah, there have been some frame rate drops in the last act. I think we're gonna hit level 7 like right as we enter Act 2.
So you come. We will talk in. I may have made a mistake.
Alright, so the person Vlaakith wants you to kill is your guardian. Well, not specifically, but that's how it's presented right here.
Very well. The Lich Queen fears nothing more than the loss of her empire. Since you spared me that fate. Good luck.
And that's a pretty interesting plot conversation, but naturally Lae'zel kind of has her world shattered by this because Vlaakith isn't the nicest of person.
Your mind tingles. Lae'zel seek you.
And you can essentially prove to Lae'zel that her queen is like actively using her, which gives her a bit of an about face on a lot of her beliefs.
I'm glad you came to your senses. Now
David says if you kill that character, is the game over? No. So if you actually kill the guardian there, the game still continues. It was like a projection of sorts.
Yes. I might gain Vlaakith's favor yet. I must.
Okay. Now we can kind of head this way here and work our way out of the monastery. Starting with killing the captain up here, which is the main thing we want to do.
I have something.
Heading there.
And I've found if you start this fight from over here and force them to come to you, it is a little bit easier.
Step by step.
Sharlak, God's a betrayer.
Skvar! My own people seek my head. If they will not see sense, then bleed them dry.
With haste.
Let's end this.
So you do have to be careful about getting knocked into the chasm one way or the other. Alright, and then we should just about have this wrapped up. Easy peasy.
Your desire. Is that blood?
And then she drops an incredible greatsword, the Soulbreaker, which does even better if you are a Githyanki. So naturally, we're going to give it to Lae'zel.
Indolence breeds madness.
Never a dull moment. Can't slow down.
Then you can do a few more small fights to wind your way out from here, which isn't so bad if you take the side entrance in particular.
Better be cautious.
Talk to me.
But you do have to be careful about aggroing basically everyone.
Death is but a word away.
My faith will guide me.
See, that's one of those moments where if I was using like a full-on dedicated class, I would have just one-shot that guy.
Intruder spotted. Hitaka!
This is where it gets a little tricky because you're bound to pull that guy and then potentially those two and the guys in the room there at the same time if you get unlucky. So you gotta be a little careful.
Dull moment. At the ready.
Provided, of course, you just didn't use the Blood of Lathander's room exit. But, you know, where's the fun in that?
Concentrate. On the move.
Creator. Destroyer.
Oof, a good hit on Lae'zel, jeez. Good news is I don't think we aggroed those other two in the hall, so something at least. Sometimes characters' turns get stuck. There it goes. Ugh. There we go.
Time to push my luck again. On my way.
Need to act fast. Moving.
What fools these mortals be.
Really hoping I could lightning bolt both of them, but I don't think it's gonna let me. Alright, we'll hold off on that. I think we'll just... Man, he is just like slightly out of position, and it's incredibly annoying. Yeah, like everything is just like slightly out of the zone. We're just dropping right there, and then we'll use our other one when they run through it. Oh, nice! I didn't aggro that second person there. That's strange.
Tired mind.
He was
Sleep
literally right next to
beckons.
him.
I would follow.
I am surely about to get encumbered.
One with the weave.
Eager for battle.
Never a dull moment.
Alright, here we go.
What should I do? Heading there. I am fury. I am death. Can't give up. None will be an issue.
Got this one, and there's 2 more to fight up here.
Rough tempest I will raise.
Oh wow, she drank some big potion. Figures. Who is my favorite companion? Not just Origin, just companion. Overall, surprisingly, Minthara. I've said that a few times, but she has a really great story. Lae'zel, though, of the Origin characters, is definitely my favorite. Chat kind of freaked out on me there for a second. I had like no messages, and there was like 20 all at once. Is there a way to sort or remove spells on your bar? Yeah, if you just hit the toggle hotbar lock, you can pull and move them away as you want. There we go, good grief. She kept parrying everything Lae'zel was trying to do. Nice. Alright, and then that was... So this is one of the reasons I like going out this way instead of the Lathander way, because then you can take all this stuff. Even if you don't want it, you can still sell it.
Let's move.
Which is honestly probably what we're going to do with it, but we are loaded down on stuff right now. What do I prefer, melee, barb, or fighter? I'm a personally fighter all the way. Barbarian kind of falls off later, but it's great like right at the beginning.
Have to keep going.
Bon Robin says, "Hey, how's it going? Nice to see you on cam again. I appreciate it. Nice to stream every once in a while, you know." Matea says this is the place with the gloves with the 18 decks. Yeah, you get them off a vendor that we've already got. Which way says hi from Australia? Rogues, swords, or daggers?
Victory awaits.
We are playing the jack of all trades build, so just doing a little bit of everything, to be honest.
Come on, can't stay idle.
Beautiful. Evelyn Brown says, a podcast said 100% this game isn't impossible. I'm assuming you mean they meant it is impossible. Am I going to tell them to hold my beer? I mean, it's definitely possible. I think
Let's light them
once more people start reaching the end game and start like understanding how everything fits together, it's not as variable as people make it out to be. Like it's incredibly reactive, and there's tons of choice and consequence, and I don't want to undersell that, but I do think people are blowing it out of proportion a little bit. Joel asks for Jack of all trades if you have to play the game from level 1, or can you just respec? Respecking does not work. You can't use withers. Okay, so this is the last area. So we are just going to use spells. Forgot to switch Lae'zel's bow back.
Can't give up now. With haste.
All right. And with that, we are basically out of here. Is that better? No. There it is. I was like, I'm going to get encumbered eventually. I'm just picking up everything. Alright, we're going to leave the crossbow. We've got so much stuff. Once we get outside, we can get out of here. Nice. Everybody but my main character hit level 7. What is that? I need 4 XP. Jeez. Okay. First things first, let's go offload some of this ridiculous amounts of stuff we have. I send some stuff to camp, but for the most part, I like to sell things. Oh, is it gonna... It's forcing me to go to bed. Or there's a cutscene Lae'zel's about to get, and it looks like it's forcing that on me. Even though I did not go with that. How does the XP difference happen? When you first pick up the characters, there can be slight variations. If I were to send them to, like, just dismiss them from camp and then bring them back, it would sort of level out. So, Kithrak Voss here.
Blacketh's demise. Skaketh. I should run you
If I've bring
is actually not working for Blacketh, but is rather a double agent.
I will hear no more of it.
Lae'zel, take the now.
And now everyone knows that Blacketh is actually betraying the Githyanki.
We are honored with an eternal home in the astral, celebrated. But to raise Vlaakith, and I believe he may be... They would feed me to their dragon.
Alright, and might as well rest since we're here. Okay. How is it not going to let me go back? You can't travel. Oh, I bet someone is encumbered. Maybe that's it. Oh, no, we should be good. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it was just because of the cutscene. It let us out. Being difficult. Alright, we're going to try to sell some of this junk, and then we're going to step into Act 2, and that will give us level 7, at which point I will level everyone up. Renee says, was that a baby owlbear with scratch? Yes, you can get the baby owlbear at your camp if you jump through a few hoops.
It'll take a while for us all to... Of course.
Okay. He has some gold, so we can sell all these great swords. I think that's about it, really. We don't need blink. I really like that helm, but I just don't need it. Anybody else have anything I want to get rid of? Take
May
what
you
little
keep
gold he has left and move on. All right.
Back home will ever believe this.
Whatever comes, I'm ready.
Eager for battle.
She's still got all this stuff. We can sell that later.
No rest for the wicked, I see.
Got all my people out of order.
Elminster's not around, so might as well.
We'll wind up selling all of that as well, but that'll do for now. Why only a 4-man party? I'd have to ask Larian on that one.
What now?
That's just what they went with. Kind of standard party size these days in most tabletop things, so I think that's kind of why they went that way. Okay, so with that, I think we're pretty much ready to step into the Shadow Cursed Lands, which begins Act 2. That said, I think we actually want to go up through the Underdark because we're the playthrough we're going for here.
Got a long road ahead.
But
All's well that ends not as bad as it could have.
Charmed, I'm sure.
ideally we'd want a torch. But actually, if I'm not mistaken, the light off of the blood of Lathander should be enough for that beginning part. Why does it keep moving Gale up to the top? That's annoying.
Still alive.
Yeah.
So, progress.
All right. Mortem, do I have an act? Do I have a? Oh no. Oh no! Tell me I didn't just lose a bunch of progress. The game just crashed on me. Ugh. That's annoying. It should have auto-saved after I rested at the very worst. That is really annoying after I just did all that inventory management. Do I have a favorite act of the game, though? I would say Act 1's probably my favorite overall, just like everything works the way it's supposed to, really. Once they get it cleaned up, I think the actual city will be, though. Joel says first crash I've seen. It's crashed a few times for me, but nothing like egregious by any means. Why is it acting like this is a first? Okay, that's weird. It acted like that was the first time I'd launched it, but obviously all my saves are still there. That was really strange. Renee donated 50, sorry, of the currency I'm not familiar with, but says, well, I have reached Act 2 on my game, so I won't spoil myself. Good luck and keep wandering in wisdom. I appreciate it. It's very kind of you. Yeah, that's what I thought. Literally just after I did all of that inventory management. That almost annoys me more than if it had just lost something more interesting. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, so what happened? Like, it just changed. For whatever reason, it's acting like I just fired up the game for the first time and it changed my settings. Where is... I'll deal with it later. Old Parasite says the inventory system's the only thing I don't like about the game. Yeah, it's fair. I mean, it's not the
Moving
only
ahead.
problem point, but the inventory system can be pretty annoying. Yeah, the Unbelievable Beaver says make sure you reset the nudity thing. Yeah, it's right when I fired the game up, it asked about it, so you can just say no, and you're pretty much good to go as far as that goes. But very annoying, to be sure.
It'll take a while for us all to recover. Of course.
Alright, get rid of all this stuff again.
May you keep that.
Elminster's not around, so might as well.
Vlaakith's will be done.
What's next, I wonder?
Okay.
Have a lot on my mind and, well, in it. Another step forward.
Now we can take the elevator up to the Underdark, or from the Underdark to the Shadow-Cursed lands.
You're going up there? You've either got iron guts or what the Death Dark's clog.
As long as you have a light source, you should be okay, and in like the initial parts. Which, last time, the Blood of Lathander was enough. Ramon says, good evening. How's it going? Good evening. Ivano says you can, yeah, you can do like shift click, like the Windows command. I'm aware. It's I do a lot of stuff just out of a habit more than anything else. Okay.
How much farther can I go? Bet I can crack that open.
And it reset everything, even my dice skin that I was using. Good grief. Before we step out, we will go ahead and level up. Level 7 for our main guy. How do you speed up the dice roll? You just press space. Same way you kind of click through conversations. Okay. So, for our 7th level. I don't think it's going to matter, but might as well take Barbarian at this point, because everything else is pretty inconsequential, but I guess we might be able to make use out of rage in certain circumstances. But at this point, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference.
Your desire.
Pretty standard level up for everybody else. That should give us our level 4 spells. We're gonna grab Ice Storm and... Personally, I really like Blight, but that's mostly just because there's not a lot of interesting level 4 stuff. Alright, then we'll drop the Inevitable Witch Bolt for Ice Storm. Drop Thunderwave for Blight.
Oh, enough waiting. I crave
Lae'zel gets
blood.
a standard fighter level. Shouldn't really do much for her. It's kind of more maneuvers. We can grab Disarming. That'll be more important here coming up. And then I like Trip, so we'll grab that. What's the plan for the Paladin? Which oath and do you plan to break it? I don't really need Paladin for anything, so it'll probably be one of the last ones just because of the oath. Because realistically, we're going to wind up breaking it anyway. Do I know which hex is better to apply with the Warlock? It depends on what you're hexing. Okay, so we got Spirit Guardians. We don't need Speak with Dead because we got that amulet if we actually need it. And then we're going to pick up Revivify and... There we go. That'll do for now.
I've got a long road ahead.
Okay. Now we can step out into the Shadow Cursed Lands.
Those shadows. There's power coursing through them.
I've never seen darkness like this before.
You got to be careful in the Shadow Cursed Lands because you can start to take damage here.
Moonrise Tower is like...
I think that is the appropriate place to wrap up for the day, as this is where I was wanting to wrap up originally before my power went out when I tried to stream earlier today. And plus, I've still got to make a video, and it's getting pretty late now. But that is going to do it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope it was interesting. Getting relatively close. Act 2 was probably going to have to wait until next week for this. I can't really stream again until like Wednesday night versus Thursday, so it'll be one of those 2 days that I stream this again. And in the meantime, I'm going to get back to working on other content for the things. But again, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. People who donated, big thanks to you guys. But more than anything, may you wander in wisdom and have